A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Landslide warnings issued for 8 districts. Water levels in the Ginganga, Kaluganga and Attanagaluoya reached spill level. 3 people killed in a lightning strike. Army on standby to face any emergency situation as a result of the adverse weather. Minister Mangala Samaravira accuses Gotabaya Rajapaksa of taking the country on the destructive path. Attention drawn to limit the Sri Lanka West Indies Test series to 2 matches.
Many parts of the island are battered by the heavy rains experienced over the country. Chaturanga Haparachi joins us now from the Weather Centre with an in-depth look at the forecast.
Good evening to you, Arundhati. Good evening to our viewers. Now, as you said, the country has been experiencing heavy showers for the past 24 hours. Before I take you through what has been happening and what we can expect in the coming week, let me draw your attention to a landslide warning issued by the National Building Research Organisation, or the NBRO. Now, they issued a level 3 landslide early warning at 7:30 this evening, requesting the public to evacuate to safer locations. The NBRO says since the rainfall within the past 24 hours has exceeded 150 millimeters, if the rain continues, the public must evacuate to safe locations to avoid the risk of landslides, slope failures and rockfalls. Now, this particular landslide warning is in effect for the Ratnapura district, the Galle district as well as the Kalutara district. In the Ratnapura district, this landslide warning is in effect for Nivitigala, Kalawana and Kiriyalla divisional secretariat areas. In Galle, it is in effect for Tawalama, Nagoda and Galle divisional secretariat areas. In the Kalutara district, Agalawatta, Bulat Sinhala, Walallavita and Ingiriya divisional secretariat areas, and in the Galle district, Dehiyovita, Daraniyagala, Bulat Kohupitiya, Aranayaka, Ruwanwalla. These are the areas that the landslide warning is in effect. Now, let me draw your attention to what we've seen in terms of the weather for the past 24 hours and maybe what we can predict from this information that we gather from international sites such as When to Ski. Now, we are looking at today around 8:30 to 10 p.m. We can see that the rainfall is going through the country. There is a heavy amount of precipitation that especially the southwestern parts of our country is receiving, especially Colombo, Galle and the Mathura district. Now, we have to also keep in mind that the landslide warning is in effect for Ratnapura, Galle, Kalutara and Galle districts. Now, if I take your attention to what is happening in terms of the weather tomorrow, we can see that we can experience a similar amount of rainfall tomorrow as well. Though we see this precipitation moving away from the country, we will still have a situation where rain will happen from time to time across the country. You can see that here that the precipitation is still covering the country to a certain degree, even though the main depression area has moved away from the country and is situated in this location as of 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. These are predictions obtained with the satellite data through these international media sites. If you move on to the evening hours of tomorrow, we can see that the precipitation has moved away completely, though there is a significant amount of wind flow towards the country from the southwestern parts. We can see a reduction in the rainfall as per this data that is available to us. Arundhati, once again, a reminder, if you know anyone or if you are living in the areas where this landslide warning has been issued for, especially Ratnapura, Galle and Kalutara districts, please be aware of what is happening. Please be vigilant and please be careful. If you're in an area where there is danger, if you think there is danger, please have a method or a measure to go away from that area. Basically, evacuate from where you are if you feel the need to do so. Now, I told you that the country has been affected by the adverse weather conditions throughout the day. Let's have a look at what happened across the country.
Several areas in Baddegama Galle were inundated today following heavy showers experienced since early this morning. Heavy rainfall was also experienced in the Mathura town and surrounding areas since this morning. Several roads in the Horan area were inundated due to heavy rainfall. Similar scenes were witnessed in Anguruwatota, Pokunuwita and Ballapitiya. Several parts of the Munragala district were also drenched by heavy showers, while accompanying strong winds felled many trees in the area. Day-to-day life in the Ratnapura district too was affected by heavy showers. Many areas in the Trincomalee district, including Kantale, Seruvila and Muttur, experienced heavy showers this afternoon. Our correspondent noted that fishermen refrained from setting out to sea today due to the adverse weather conditions. Our correspondent in the Jaffna district noted that while much of the district remained dry, light showers were experienced in some areas. Our network of view reporters across the island sent in footage of the changing weather conditions in their areas. Meanwhile, the Road Development Authority has taken the precautionary measure of imposing a speed limit of 60 km per hour on expressways in order to prevent accidents. Director of the RDS Expressway Maintenance and Management Unit, S. Opanayaka, said in the event of rain, all motorists on expressways should switch on their headlights. The Sri Lanka Army also announced that measures have been taken to ensure first responders are prepared to deal with disaster situations. Army spokesperson Brigadier Sumit Athapattu said the 58th Brigade is on standby to respond to any disaster situation.
That was the situation across the country and the advice sent out by the RDA and other relevant authorities. The Disaster Management Centre also convened a media briefing today to inform the public about the precautions that need to be taken.
A minor flood situation has been reported from the water gauge at Thavalama on the Ginganga. The water level at the Dulamale gauge on the Attanagalu Oya is also a cause for concern. A minor flood situation has also been reported from the Millakanda gauge on the Kaluganga. At the same time, more rain has been forecast for tonight, which could cause water levels to rise further.
The public must remain vigilant and follow all notices issued by the Disaster Management Centre via the media. Failure to do this could result in a catastrophe. The Army and Navy have already dispatched first responders and boats to Bulat Sinhala, Palindanuara and Valalavita administrative divisions. Army and Navy boats and rescue teams have also been sent to the Nelua, Thavalama, Niyagama, Valakumbura and Udagama areas in the Galle district, as they have been determined to be at risk.
Well, thank you, Chaturanga, for bringing us the details. Moving on to other local stories, Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira has issued a media release today listing out the factors that have affected the economy of the country as well as the corruption of the previous government.
The release highlights 16 points. Speaking about the corruption of the previous government, Minister Mangala Samaravira says Gotabaya Rajapaksa seems to be engaged in an untiring effort to throw the country again into a Vipatmaga, or the destructive path. Minister Samaravira adds that several cases are being heard in courts and are being investigated by the police against former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the moment. The media release highlights several allegations that are raised against Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the Rajapaksa family. They are the corrupt MIG deal, plundering public money to construct memorial museums and name them after the parents, unleashing assault on journalists and enforced disappearances of some of them, instigating corruption and terror, and maintaining an illegal armory, thereby depriving the government of its due income. The release says charges of a similar nature are being investigated against the other members of the Rajapaksa family as well. Minister Samaravira says it is crystal clear that Rajapaksa siblings have been endeavouring to grab power to rule once again by misleading the public in an attempt to sweep the legal cases against them under the carpet. The release says that the government has been able to strengthen the local economy despite many challenges after 2015. It adds that in 1990, export earnings were at 30% of GDP and that it had dwindled to 12% of GDP by 2014. The The release says Kurunegala District MP Mahinda Rajapaksa has charged that the unity government has to make the highest recorded debt repayment of US $4.2 billion in 2019 due to the debt crisis created by the Yahapalne government. Minister Samarawira accuses the former president of being mindless and forgetful. The release says after independence in 1948, the highest amount of foreign debt has to be paid in 2018. The total foreign debt to be paid this year is $2,845 million US dollars, of which $1,789 million has to be paid for foreign debts which were borrowed before the year 2015. The minister adds only an installment of $1,056 million US dollars is to be paid for foreign loans borrowed after 2015. The release says $4,285 million US dollars has to be paid in 2019, of which $3,315 million or 77% of the repayments are for the debt obtained during the tenure of the Rajapaksa regime. Another $3,768 million US dollars will have to be paid as loan installments and the interest in 2020, of which 77% or $2,905 million is the debt that was incurred before 2015. The release says in 2021, 83% of the foreign debt installments will have to be paid to repay the debt taken before 2015. In addition, the release highlights that even in 2030, 73% of the repayments will go to pay the debt that was obtained during the Rajapaksa regime for the waste, fraud and corruption committed by the oligarchies of the Rajapaksas. The media release issued by the Minister Mangala Samarawira further says that after this government was voted into power, it has obtained foreign debt of $12 billion US dollars over the last 3 years, $6 billion of which was from international donor agencies and under bilateral agreements at concessionary interest rates. It adds that soon after this government came to power, it pledged to increase the salaries of public servants by 10,000 rupees because their salary was not increased by even 1 cent since 2006. In addition, the release says in comparison to the prices of powdered milk, domestic gas and fuel in 2014, the prices are still at a lower level, and when public servant salaries are increased by 107% in 2020, it will help people to increase their income and maintain the cost of living at a low level. Concluding his media release, the minister says the Rajapaksa siblings who ruled this country under such a background have been attempting to regain power by throwing the people into a vipatmaga or a destructive path. The minister says, quote, "Therefore we urge the people to defeat such attempts and rally round the government's agenda to build a strong economy and a rich country by the year 2025. Unquote.
Meanwhile, at an event held to commemorate war heroes at the Sambuddhata Jayanti Dakshina Rama Viharya in Hokandar yesterday, former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa had this to say.
In the post-war era, we completely developed the North to achieve reconciliation. All displaced people were resettled. However, in order to prevent communal sentiments, which had been ingrained in the minds of the youth from coming to the fore again, we established a security system there. If we betray the freedom won through the sacrifices of many lives, political needs, for the wishes of various forces, or due to a failure to understand it, then we will once again enter such an era.
Former President and Kurunegala District Parliamentarian Mahinda Rajapaksa had this to say.
I think that while the people of our country may not know the situation, they are well aware of the political and economic situation of the country. We believe that we must put a stop to this anti-war hero campaign where war heroes are being imprisoned.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
Permits that were issued for sand mining and transportation from the Mahavali River in the Seruvila and Muttur areas of the Trincomalee district are currently suspended. The permits were suspended in order to facilitate a survey to identify areas suitable for sand mining and to ascertain the amount of sand that can be mined. If, in addition to this survey, a post-mortem inquiry is also carried out into the impact of sand mining activity carried out with permits in the Seruvila and Muttur administrative divisions, authorities will be able to uncover the extent of the destruction that has been caused and those responsible for it.
About 2 years ago, the riverbank was near that kumbuk tree. But within a year since that sand mining started, the riverbank has shifted by about 50 meters.
In order to mine sand, not only from the riverbed but from the banks too, these permit holders carved roads for their tractors and machinery across protected reserve areas. The transportation of the sand mined here has also destroyed a 10-kilometer-long defensive flood barrier, which was built during the term of Prime Minister D.S. Senanayake to protect adjacent villages from the floodwaters of the Mahawali. Roads constructed in the post-war era under the Naganahira Navodaya program, bringing the benefits of peace, have also been reduced to ruins by the heavy vehicles which transport the sand. Incidentally, the area that has been allocated by the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau for the permit holders to use as a terminal for the mined sand is a part of the protected reserve around the river, which also contains sand deposits. Farmers accuse the sand miners of excavating this area too, in addition to the riverbank and riverbed, paving the way for an ecological disaster. On the night of Thursday, the 17th of May, villagers in Dehiwatta Seruvila protested against the transportation of sand which had been mined from the terminal area. According to area residents, as per the permits issued to the sand miners, the cargo that eventually reaches Colombo and surrounding areas is not limited to sand.
You can clearly see the trunk has been cut up with a chainsaw in order to transport the wood. Over there you can see more trees have been cut down. These lumber smugglers and sand smugglers are working together on this. The officials want the kumbuk wood to beautify their mansions.
Prior to undertaking a half-hearted survey and opening the path for sand mining to resume in Seruvila and Muttur, shouldn't the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau use the money earned from the issuing of permits to repair the damage that has been caused thus far? Secretary to the Ministry of Environment and Mahawali Development, over to you.
The 13th annual conference of Lions Club International District 306C2 was held at Temple Trees yesterday. At the conference, Lions Club International felicitated the government the initiative in recognition of services rendered to the public of Sri Lanka under the theme By the People, for the People.
The 13th annual conference of Lions Clubs International District 306C2 saw the participation of dignitaries from across the global Lions community. Awards were presented to eminent individuals and the media at this event in recognition of services rendered to the country. MSH Mohammed, who took the initiative in securing a PET scanner for the Hope Cancer Hospital in Maharagama, and Professor Carlo Fonseca were also felicitated by the Lions. Governor of District 306C2, Asela Karunawardena, and representatives of Lions Clubs International participated in the felicitation. The chief guest at the event was former Governor of District 306C2, Lion Mahendra Amrasuriya. The Gammad initiative, which has mobilized the people of Sri Lanka to strengthen rural communities, was also felicitated at this event with a special award.
ගම්වල ඈත දුර බැහැර ජීවත් වන අපේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ හඬ තවමත් ඔබට ඇහිලා නැතුව ඇති. ඒ බව වටහාගත්ත ඔවුන් හඬක් නැති හඬක් ඇවැසි හඬක් ඉල්ලා අරගල කරන මිනිසුන්ගේ හඬ බවට පරිවර්තනය වුණා. මිනිස්සුන්ගේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අසාධාරණට ලකුණු සතා සීපා වගේ හඬ පවා නියෝජනය කරන්නට උන්ට පුළුවන් වුණා. Tamanගේ යුග මෙහෙවර ඉටු කරමින් බොහෝ ආందోලනාත්මක අභියෝගාත්මක අධියරන් තුල පවා නොසලී ක්‍රියාදාමය ඉදිරියටම පවත්වාගෙන ගිය සිරස Newsfirst අපේ ගම්මැද්දේ යත්තන්ටයි මේ විශේෂ ඇගයුම් සම්මානය අභිමානවත් සිංහ රාත්‍රියේදී.
Director General Manager of Newsfirst, Yasrat Kamalsiri, and representatives of the Gammad the Secretariat accepted the award on behalf of the Gammad the initiative.
Voice of the Village. News from across the nation, reported by Newsfirst's regional correspondents.
Witnessing wild elephants roaming in the Katwava area along the Kataragama-Kalambu road is a common sight. Area residents say that the elephants arrive in the area because the street lamps are not functioning. These wild elephants are seen in a forest near the Makampur port in Hambantota during daytime, and by night they reach the Kataragama-Colombo main road.
The farmers living in the Mayurapura division in the Hambantota district will have to abandon these lands and go away. We have been raising this issue over a long period of time. There has been no solution. They have destroyed the land. Look at the destruction.
The fishermen on the Mahavilache River in Anuradhapura are facing severe problems due to the lack of water in the tank. 3 years ago, irrigation engineers had decided to empty the tank in order to carry out repairs and renovation. There are over 360 families who are living off the catch of this particular river.
Since the time of the kings, the water from these tanks were allowed to flow systematically. But the officials of this government emptied the tanks without thinking about the impact on the people. There are over 1,750 farmers in the Godorova area and another 2,650 in Madahorova. All of these people are now in a helpless situation.
An anecut built across the Adal Oya in Kumaragama, Ampara by the agrarian community of Uranakumaragama has been washed away by the heavy rains experienced in the area. The anecut that was built using 18,500 sandbags provides water for about 700 acres of paddy land.
If the anecut is reinforced using steel nets in a more permanent way, we could cultivate about 600 to 700 acres each season.
If we are unable to cultivate this season, the agrarian community in the area will not have any means of income. Therefore, we request for some means of development. A group of residents of Dehiovita engaged in a demonstration obstructing the Dangampala junction in Darniagala today, stating that the Dehiovita and Dangampala road has not been renovated for several years. Area residents said that a 3-kilometer stretch of road is in an extremely dilapidated condition.
This road leads to several villages. A large number of students take this road to reach their schools. There are 3 schools in the area. Sometimes a child cannot walk on the road with a pair of shoes. There are big potholes, but not a single official can see it.
During elections, they come here to ask for our vote. They promise to renovate the road, but once they win the election, they forget everything.
Day-to-day life is a daily struggle for the inhabitants of the islets surrounding the Jaffna Peninsula. Tarasha Kumar Singh, who visited the region recently with the Newsfirst team, filed this report.
After travelling 20 kilometers from Jaffna town, the team made it to the Karampan pier to start their ferry ride to Elevativu Island. The island has an area of 1.4 square kilometers and had a population of 555 as at the 2012 census. Elevativu has no causeway connecting it to the mainland or other islands, and the ferry acts as the only mode of access to Jaffna Peninsula. Hunger is a daily reality for the residents of Elevativu, who also struggle to access basic public services taken for granted by urban Sri Lankans. Among the people we met on the island was Anushya. In spite of the numerous obstacles faced by them, Anushya's family meets the challenges of life head-on as they struggle every day to simply make ends meet.
Now, during our long journey in the Elevativu Island, we came across this home, which provides shelter to 3 families and 10 people in total. This right here is Anushya, and to my immediate right here is Anushya's husband, who is mentally unstable. Now, the responsibility of these 3 families falls onto the shoulders of Anushya right here.
Anushya mends fishing nets, and this is the only mode of income to put food on the table for 10 people. Another source of income for many of the families on the island was the palmyra palms. Villagers used every element of the palmyra palm to produce a variety of goods. However, for some time now, the traders who purchase the goods they make have stopped coming to the island, closing off a potentially lucrative means of earning a livelihood.
Traders from Jaffna used to come here to buy buckets, baskets and containers we made using palmyra fronds. One basket used to fetch about 100 rupees. But since the island is inaccessible, we have to go to Jaffna now and try to sell our products.
Although seemingly isolated from the rest of the country, the stories of the people of Elevativu bear a stark resemblance to the stories that we have heard from poverty-stricken communities from north to south. These are the people of Sri Lanka who have fallen through the development net. It does not take mega infrastructure projects or trade deals signed after months of negotiations to help them. Identifying their needs and opening opportunities is all that is required to help make these islands thriving communities. For them, there is only one question: when will we become a priority on the development agenda? Tarusha Kumarasinghe reporting for News First from Elevativu of the Jaffna Peninsula.
The People's Mic.
There is no governance in the country. The cost of living is sky high. Everything is expensive. Bus fares have risen. There is no governance whatsoever. Every step that is taken is a blow to the stomach of the poor man. All we have to say to the rulers is to pay special attention to this and give some relief to the people.
This government is not like the previous government. The people are facing many problems.
Whenever we consult a doctor to get some medicine, it is very costly. The charges used to be 2,000 rupees and now it is 3,000. How can we live like this, and how can we get the medication we need? The politicians in the country are silent on this. The politicians only want to act to ensure their self-interest.
We live amid many hardships every day. It is pointless to talk about politics. They are doing what they want. When people like us go to the fair, we can't buy the goods we need. We don't know what this government is doing with the cost of living.
It is difficult to live. Hospitals are always on strike and we cannot get our medications. Doctors are on strike and everyone else is also on strike. It is very difficult to take this country forward in this way. Politicians have brought their cronies in and the country is facing a crisis. Every sector, including education, has been compromised. Relief must be provided for people to live. The cost of living keeps increasing. They say there is good governance, but nothing has happened for the people. It is very difficult to live today. The cost of living is sky high and there is no point of talking about it. I am going.
The People's Mic.
Moving on to sports news now. Ugly brawls between spectators at school rugby games have become a regular occurrence this season. Unruly spectators were also involved in brawling at matches held yesterday. Rugby lovers across the country are questioning what action the school's rugby football union will take to prevent the recurrence of such incidents.
Royal College Colombo and Wesley College Colombo faced off in the Inter-Schools Rugby League at the CRNFC grounds last evening. Following a tightly fought contest, Royal College maintained their unbeaten run this season, scraping ahead by 1 point with the scoreline at 18-17. However, immediately after the match, tensions flared between the spectators, causing the police and prefects to interfere and guide the players and referees to safety. However, this action also unfairly affected a group of spectators not involved in the brawl. Chairs and tables in the stands had also been damaged. Tensions also flared following the match between Dharmaraja College Kandy and Vidyartha Vidyalaya at the Bogambara Stadium in Kandy. While the Rajans won the match 29-24, once again the police had to intervene to halt a brawl between the fans of both teams. Spectators had intimidated one of the referees, who had to be provided a safety escort by the police.
The West Indies Cricket Board is reportedly considering shortening the test leg of the Sri Lankan tour to 2 matches instead of 3. However, Sri Lanka Cricket CEO Ashley De Silva has noted that the WICB has not officially informed SLC of any changes to the schedule. De Silva, however, did concede that WICB had informed them that they were facing a financial crisis and that a final decision would be communicated either tomorrow or the day after. The three-match test series was scheduled to get underway on the 6th of June. Sri Lanka last played a test series in the Caribbean 10 years ago. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Week in Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.